wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name, check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain. I ingest, I retain, assess and I change, possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints. Money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague. We all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name. All our insecurities are on display. This is war with the enemy, think that it was meant to be. Living in a time where disease is on every screen. I won't let them fester me, I know most are festering. Negativity is a plague for the mentally weak. No mercy, all I got is working.
What's up, YouTube? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I hope all of y'all are having a fantastic day. As always, bringing another Market Pulse update, checking out the price of Bitcoin, checking out the price of Ethereum, checking out the price of crypto, while also diving into some crypto news and checking out, of course, the PulseChain ecosystem, Hex, PulseChain, and PulseX. SBF did get sentenced today, so we're going to be diving into discussing, was it fair? What do you think? What are your thoughts? And just have some fun with it overall. Checking out some ETF approvals that are going out as well. More and more people are applying for these ETFs. So again, as always, boys and girls, I hope y'all are having a fantastic day. Without further ado, let's kick it off by checking out Bitcoin. Currently, price of Bitcoin sitting at $70,688.07. This is on the weekly right now, so you can actually see it's been moving quite a bit, but it's been pretty, I'll say it's actually been pretty solid above 70K at this point in time now. So it looks like it has actually bounced off the 69K support level at this point in time. So we are seeing that on multiple different occasions. And again, typically when you actually see this, depending on how it actually ends up looking, could be a nice little W pattern forming, which would typically play out kind of in a similar situation like this, where it actually retests this level of 63,000 once again. Again, that would be at least good bullish structure. We have seen that level already retested a few times already, and then it would actually bounce off and keep on going into that next level, again, making that higher high or higher low and higher high situation, which is always freaking bullish for crypto. But as always, we got Bitcoin popping off, doing its thing right now. Again, sitting at 70,000. We did just have the day roll over, if I'm not mistaken, as we kind of saw some action over the last day. And again, I believe this is on UTC time. So around, whatever time it is, 40 minutes ago from your time, it is on UTC over here for this particular item. So yesterday, Bitcoin actually closed above the actual opening, which was actually an open of $69,439, and we actually got a close of $70,760, and it's already currently sitting at $70,688 at this current moment in time. So it is very interesting to see how this is all playing out. Again, checking out the rest of the actual overall market, just checking out what's going on there. The S&P 500 is still breaking basically new all-time highs right now, which is pretty crazy considering it's been breaking pretty much all-time highs since roughly about the 19th of January. It just continues to make higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, and it just keeps doing a beautiful stair step, while the Dixie is actually remaining pretty strong around 104. So I got to say, I'm actually pretty shocked that we're seeing the price of Bitcoin pump as we have been, with the price of the Dixie actually going up. And as you know, typically when the DXY or the dollar index goes down, that is usually when you'll actually start seeing things like Bitcoin actually pumping up, but it doesn't seem like that seems to matter at this point in time, because you can see as of this point in time, from March 8th of 2024, Bitcoin has basically been doing around the same thing. So March 8th, 2024 was actually right here. So you can see kind of Bitcoin ended up pulling back a little bit while that DXY actually ended up increasing. And ever since then, it looks like the DXY is still increasing, raising it back up to the 104 level at this point in time. And usually that's pretty rare to see Bitcoin continue to rally on into it again. So we got some interesting stuff going on, folks. We got definitely some interesting stuff going on around these neck of the woods, especially with crypto overall. Let me know what y'all's thoughts are on all of this right here. I'm very curious to hear kind of what y'all are thinking. We actually have the price of Ethereum currently sitting at $3,560 again. If it does want to follow Bitcoin and do that little W-shaped pattern, it looks like the pull down would probably end up being roughly around a $3,300 range before it wants to go fully take off. Again, this is the 786 level that we've looked at before. So it is very curious to see how it's all going to end up playing out, because we are bouncing off it as a support at this point in time. And to be above it prior to the Bitcoin halving is pretty incredible at this point in time. Actually, speaking of, the Bitcoin halving is actually around the 19th of April at this point in time. So we still have a few additional days over here for the Bitcoin halving. As you can see, we actually have roughly about 23 days remaining until that Bitcoin halving, which is, again, roughly around 3,400 blocks. Let me refresh this because I feel like that was the same numbers as yesterday. Am I tripping? Am I tripping about that? Of course. All right. Yeah, I'm tripping. I feel like those were the exact same numbers as yesterday, which was a stream 24 hours ago. And there should have definitely been more blocks to have been counted during that time. But yeah, one of those crazy things. And again, before we go any further, I would love to give a little shout out to all the sponsors of the channel as well. So appreciate every single one of you. I want to thank all of our sponsors over on Patreon. Thank you to Debbie Phillips, ES Sports, Claudia Schwartz, Sir Toasty, Joel Lawrence, Joe Blow Crypto, Hector Reyes, Bureau Attila, Sean, Rep Bussy, Robbie Tears, Atlantean, Jonathan, Oyston Larson, Eric Johannesson, Prospector, Darren, Patrick, Joxy Boons, Larry Eats Plants, Sovereign Man, Crypto CPT, Moonmutt, Benny Davis, Shamrocks and Shenanigans, Rugburn 222, Christopher Davis, Lacey, Heximus, Pulseximus, Arzella Barnes, SoFlo Life, Lord Jamie, Mark, Chris Bugatti, Secret Crypto 21M, Hex Stevens, Lucky Taylor, NatNat369, L James, David Morgan, Fly Flea. So we actually ended up getting, appreciate every single one of y'all as well. Much love to you. So we actually ended up getting a crazy little update over here as well. This is actually coming from Bitwise right now. And you can actually see over here on this one, Bitwise is actually tracking all of the ETF flows as well. Let me actually move myself out of the way real fast. So give me uno momento while I just get that sorted. Let me just put myself right over here. That sounds good. We'll just update for now. All right, cool. So you can actually see that we actually have some outflows and inflows going on in terms of the overall ETFs happening. Again, all of the ones up top, as you can tell, this very far left one is BlackRock or IBIT. You get Fidelity to the right, Bitwise, ARK Invest, Invesco, Franklin, Valkyrie, and VanEck, Wisdom Tree, Grayscale. Grayscale has been primarily just selling the entire time. You can actually see all of the red in parentheses is them actually selling the Bitcoin at that point in time. And again, what's even crazier about that is for a period, BlackRock and all the other ones, it kind of calmed down, right? You started seeing these days of 18, 35. And again, this is pretty crazy in all reality for what it was doing, because they were over here busting out 451, 139, 586. Whoops. And so you were actually seeing quite a bit of inflows going on. And then they ended up pulling back a little bit while Grayscale continued to sell. They did not do anything differently at that point in time, and Grayscale is still doing what they do, which is sell. Again, even with all of these selling going on, it makes me kind of curious what happens when Grayscale eventually just stops selling, right? At that point in time, what happens to the price of Bitcoin? Because essentially what's going on right now is they're just kind of trading hands, right? Yes, there's some days where it's going to be a little bit more positive than negative. Yes, there's some days where it's negative over positive. Primarily, it's been positive, and we've been seeing that impact over on the price side as well. But on the days where you see the red days, so the 18th, 19th, 20th, 21, and 22, if you actually look over here on the actual chart of Bitcoin during those days as well, just so you can kind of see what was going on around that time, you got the 18th, 19th, 20th, 21, and 22. So there's a little bit of some red days. Yeah, there was a quick little recovery of this price, which many people actually bought that up real fast. Let me move myself back once again. But you can actually see kind of like how that was actually ended up playing out as well. And so I'm very curious to know what y'all's thoughts are on all of that and see what Bitcoin can eventually stop doing. We are seeing the Impulse MACD actually bring this into a bullish momentum once again. And typically when this does cross, folks, we do get some bullish momentum. You can see we crossed right here on the 6th of February. And just from the 6th of February alone, just moving it from this particular time frame, you can actually see Bitcoin actually went up another 71%. You can go back a little bit further and see last time it ended up crossing was roughly around the 18th of October. This is on the daily, mind you. So on the 18th of October, what actually ended up happening all the way until it crossed again, it was roughly up another another 55%. So if this decides to cross all the way up here right now and it wants to go off and do another 55%, where does that end up putting the price of Bitcoin at this point in time? And we can actually see, we'll probably need to zoom out a smidge. So could we end up seeing $100,000 Bitcoin before the halving? That would just blow everybody's mind. I'll be straight up with you. That would absolutely blow my mind, because while everyone thought the 100,000 Bitcoin was supposed to happen last cycle, this cycle it does tend to be moving things differently. And so I'm very curious, because even on the weekly side on this chart right now, things are looking freaking bullish as well. Like, it doesn't seem to want to stop in this bullish zone and this bullish territory. Whoops, I opened up the wrong screen. It doesn't seem to want to stop during this bullish territory and everything actually happening right now as well. So definitely keeping my eye on all this, y'all. Definitely keeping my eye on all this. It's one of those things that as I'm actually paying attention to a little bit more overall in the overall market, very freaking crazy, because I could possibly see that we hit 100,000 Bitcoin before the halving. Call me crazy. And I'll be the first to admit that sounds crazy even to myself. I would love to see a pullback, y'all. A pullback would be a healthy, good level of retracement. At this point in time, it does look like Bitcoin just wants to continue to rally, especially with these ETFs continuing to buy and inflow more and then outflow on these charts right now. So whenever I actually pulled this up right now, this is actually coming from BitMEX Research, and you can actually follow them on Twitter. And you can see they actually show the exact same thing, kind of what you got going on over here on the chart right now for the same data in BTC terms. So you can actually see how many they're purchasing, what's going on. And again, so far, the daily amount being purchased is pretty massive. And that's with Grayscale continuing to just do nothing but sell. They've continued to sell the entire time. And you can actually see all of the ETFs as well. The Bitcoin Spot ETF is actually showing a cumulative flow over here where it's just massive flows right now, y'all. Massive flows. Now, what's very interesting about this particular picture is look at all of these companies that you see down here at the bottom. So I talked about this a little bit earlier, just over on the beginning of the stream, talking about these ETFs coming back and getting approved and checking everything out. But what's even crazier is whenever I actually look up this information over, say, on Arkham right now, you can actually see quite a bit of data over here. Saved BTC spot entities. And you can actually gather all of this data as well. So you can actually see Grayscale Bitcoin balance sheet right now, and they still have 341,000 Bitcoin at this point in time, and GLDC. They also have the BlackRock over here sitting at $245,000 Bitcoin as well. You actually have ARK Invest coming up at 37,000, Fidelity coming in at 20,000. So Grayscale still has basically close to 10 times more than a lot of these other institutions. And so it's kind of curious to see how it's all going to end up playing out, shaping out. Bitwise sitting on 30,000 Bitcoin. VanEck sitting on 8,000 Bitcoin. And again, EasyBC, which is Franklin Templeton's, is sitting on 4,100, with Wisdom Tree sitting on roughly around 1,100. What was crazy about this is as I was going through the news, there was another article that I read mentioning that where did it go? Okay, cool. That was a different one. There was a news article basically saying that Bitwise is also looking to apply for the ETF, which they just filed for the spot Ethereum ETF. I'll just pull it up over here on stream so that way y'all can all see as well. And so you can actually see all this. Bitwise over here busting out their filing their spot Bitcoin ETF, and you can actually see if I just type in I thought they had a search over here. Maybe they do, and I'm just zoomed in too far. No search over here. No search for you. No search for you. All right, let me go over to this one and just type in. Oh, there you go. Ethereum ETF application submitted by Bitwise. And this, again, just happened today. We can actually see if I just type in ETF application, Ethereum ETF. Let me just see what pops up whenever I type that in. So Ethereum application submitted by Bitwise, BlackRock also submitted its ETF. We have the spot Ethereum ETF, and again, when ETF, blah, 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 Fidelity's Ethereum ETF offering gets an amendment. Ethereum ETF approval odds plummet, and because all this good stuff with the SEC happening, this is just one of those things that are going on. But a lot of these companies are actually going through and applying for spot Ethereum ETF, folks. So pretty crazy stuff. Pretty crazy stuff, if I do say so myself over there. And of course, let's just check out what's going on with the PulseChain ecosystem. Again, if y'all got questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. I will get to the questions in just a moment. And again, we're just checking out some data today. Hope all of y'all are having a fantastic day as always. We got PulseChain sitting at 30111, PulseX sitting at 40437, the Ink token sitting at $6.40, the Hex price sitting at 1.1 cents, and the Hex on Ethereum is currently sitting at 0.0022 with the ratio still around 1-to-5 ratio over here. Now, when you actually look at the overall chart on these overall crypto tokens, you can see things have been kind of sitting stale. We've been going sideways roughly for about an entire 3 months, if you really think about it, right? Going all the way back to the 15th of January. We're now into the 28th of March, so a little over 2 months. Yes, there's been some ups. Yes, there's been some downs, but with crypto, the patience is definitely in the game, folks, because it can definitely just rise and pump out of nowhere. So keep that in mind through all of these things. But again, we've basically been sideways roughly around this time, while a lot of other stuff is pumping. So I've seen several individuals leaving the crypto scene completely. And tomorrow, the stream is actually going to be looking at Coinfessions and just having a fun stream looking at Coinfessions on a little TGIF stream on Friday. So I hope all of y'all are ready for that. But I'll just be going through some of those Coinfessions because some of them are brutal. Some of them hit you hard. Some of them are real. Like, man, it's a crazy, crazy world that we have right here as well. But again, this is currently sitting on the price of PulseChain right now with 3011. Current price of the Ink token, or PulseX, should I start with? Currently sitting at 404377. It does look like it has fallen once again below the 618 retracement on this one. So ideally, you would see it maybe even come down here to this level, which is 4036. But we have been forming a nice little parallel channel. Now, again, if it decides to break out of the channel, I don't call it exempt just yet. But if it decides to go for an extended period of time outside of the channel, we are going to have to adjust this parallel channel because, again, this is a bullish parallel channel. We've had this situated all the way from August 30th of 2023. There are days where it is going to fall out of it. There are days where it's going to fall above it. But ideally, it pretty much stays within this range. And right now, we are on the lower side of this parallel channel, as I've stated before. Anything below the dotted line, bearish. Anything above the dotted line, bullish. If you actually look over here on the RSI as well for the stock RSI, it does look like it still is into an oversold situation, flipping into a lower low over here as well. So if you actually see, it's basically hitting lows that it hasn't really hit before. It's hit this a few times in the past, and when it has hit it, you can kind of see the price action around. Whoops. Let me see if I can make that a little bit easier to see. I'll just kind of zoom on in. So you can see when it actually has hit these levels that it's been at in the past, you can kind of see what happened to the price at that point in time before it actually managed to just rally on up once again. And then you see the sell-offs, people selling, people taking profits, rally on up again. So we'll kind of maybe see that once again, because we are hitting some pretty low levels at this point in time around the 0.02 or 0.27 mark. Again, I believe right now we're currently right at the 1.8 mark right now. So it has been lower before. It's 0.78. There you go. That's the number that it is. It has been lower on this before, but when it has been lower on this before, it tends to do pretty big rallies whenever it actually ends up starting to pump. Again, you can see the last time it hit this level was all the way back over here. And so it's definitely something I am keeping my eye on, folks. Again, the 0.8 level, again, we kind of went sideways. So we've got a couple of different actions happening overall. Which way it decides to go, we'll just have to wait and see. I'm still mad bullish on the entire ecosystem, so don't get that twisted. But just keeping everyone in the loop as to kind of what I can see happening as well. Now, in terms of the Hex price, you know, Hex has been for a lot of people the one that's been hitting home for a lot of people, right? That's something that you've heard narratives of the store value and you know all that good stuff. And here we are, 1 penny all the way back. You know, what is this? March of 2024. The bull market's already been here, but we basically haven't done anything during this time. We are at the same level that we were basically at already back in June of 2023 when it, you know, PulseChain first launched. Yeah, there's been some downs. Yeah, there's been a little bit of ups, but it hasn't really gone off and done a full rally yet at this point in time. We are still in this ascending wedge right or bullish wedge right now. So while we are in this little range, again, I can show you what has happened in the past. It has dipped down to these levels. That's why we have these marks right here, right? That's why we have this level right here. Because when it does tend to end up going off here, that is usually a level of support, and it likes to play within the triangle until it decides to break out or break down, just depending upon which direction it wants to go. Typically, at this point in time, being that we are in a bull market, I would anticipate that we actually see a break out of this, getting us back into not only the 3 cent level, but way beyond, folks. I would really love to see the 10 cent level once again, the 8 to 10 cent level, like get us back in this little zone up here. Then we can start talking about being freaking mad, crazy bullish with it. Everyone would start losing their mind, all the good stuff that would happen, that euphoric feeling everyone would be having. So keep that in mind. This is what I see playing out. Again, the 50 EMA does look like it wants to cross below the 200 EMA. Not a good indicator, by the way, in terms of directions in crypto. When the 50 goes below the 200 at this point in time, that is usually a bearish indicator as well. So keep that in mind. This is on a daily chart right now. Even on the weekly or on the weekly right now, we don't have enough weeks at this point in time to get the 50-week done. Even on the 3-day, though, we are below that. And again, on the daily, we are sitting right below both. And it does look like this is wanting to cross. So if it does tend to cross, folks, I'm just giving you a heads up, tends to be bearish. Okay. Like, don't say I didn't warn you at the bare minimum. Now, the Ink token has been the one performing by far one of the best out of all of the chain for the PulseChain ecosystem. It does look like it wants to hold above the 786 retracement level, which would put us right above the $5.40 or $5.24 range at this point. And it has actually bounced basically off the 618 level as well, roughly around $10 as a resistance. Now, again, resistance is meant to be broken. So keep that in mind. So when you start seeing things hit resistance multiple times, so I could see us going back up here and hitting this $10 range again, coming back down, hitting the $10 range again, coming back down. Resistance is meant to be broken right before it actually ends up mooning, hitting either anywhere between the whole $25 range up to $26, or I guess $18 to $26 is kind of where I'm aiming at that point in time for the Ink token, with the current price sitting at $6.41, a nice little 3x in the gauge, with the stock RSI actually beginning to pump up at this point in time. So keeping all that in mind, what's going to happen? Only time will tell for sure. But I'm very curious to know what y'all are all thinking. What are y'all's questions? What do you have for me today? I hope all of y'all, again, as always, is having a fantastic day. We'll check out some crypto news to wrap up in just a bit, and then just see what we got going on. Jason Smith, what's good? Dude, another day, my boy. Another day, my friend. Eximus, Pulse Eximus. Salute to you, boy. TDM10 says, hey, ATX, kind of a good retrace. Can you see the bear flag on Pulse? Yeah, so you can definitely see that. Again, pulling up on the PulseChain chart on this one. This is actually forming that kind of like you just mentioned, the whole bear flag. So ideally it would kind of look like this, where you, whoops, I thought I drew the brush, thought I grabbed it. So you would grab like this, and you see another little flag like that, right? And so at that point in time, depending upon which way it wants to go, ideally it would want to break up out of it. It would want to break out of it, but again, tends to do the opposite of sometimes what people think. But yeah, in that situation, I can definitely see that being a possibility. Let me check something out real quick. All right, and going back over here, I was just trying to make sure the stream was all good, and it's all good. So Anthony Saavedra says, what up, y'all? ATX, what up, man? Chilling, my boy. ES Sports, salute to you. Do you think Pulse gets one more pump before BTC halving or more sideways action? Well, I mean, I've shared this in the past, but I think at this point in time, you got to extend your time frame. Unfortunately, I think we're going to be one of the later ones to pump based on a lot of information, folks. And I've delved deep on this with the Patreon peeps, and I've also gone in deep a few times on some previous market pulses. And so ideally, if you just look at all the other times that you look at layer ones, for example, and all the other layer ones out there, the Bitcoin halving happened, and then roughly around 6 to 8 months after that was when the pump actually really kicked off. So I think we're in a similar situation. By sideways, I do mean within a 3x range. So if you consider a 3x within the like a pump, then yeah, I can definitely see that being a possibility. Before the halving, I don't think it's going to be a possibility at this point in time. The volume's just not really showing at this point. The metrics overall aren't really showing a whole bunch of information on that. Whenever I pull up deck screener over here, PulseChain has fallen below. So we actually fell out of the top 10. Solana actually, in terms of volume, broke above the top 10 of Ethereum. So at this point in time, Solana is actually beating Ethereum in terms of the daily volume. Now, I think Solana is full of automated market bots and all this, not automated market bots, but just bots in general. And I do mean full of bots, right? And usually what I mean by that is when you see $5.8 million in volume and it only has 213,000 in liquidity, that's wrong. When you see 6.4 million in volume, 250,000 in liquidity, that's wrong. 29 million in volume with 550,000 in liquidity, it's just backwards. Again, that you just don't see that anywhere else. Even on Ethereum, you see some of these tokens over here who can end up pulling it. For the most part, you do see it. I think Ethereum also has plenty of bots as well. I mean, heck, all of these, dude. Base is another one. Like Base jumped up, I think 5 points or 5. I don't remember Base being that high, but Base is coming out with all these new meme tokens. So whenever I do see the volume outpacing the liquidity over here, it's usually something that it's a lot of bots included that's basically making all of that happen. So that's one thing that I will say. You can look at Binance; they're in a similar situation, but a lot of these just have a whole bunch of bots, man. And again, if that just means that you get more volume, then so be it. But again, I think this volume is kind of fake volume, but neither here nor there. It's currently outpacing Ethereum, right? So you have Ethereum at 1.6 billion in volume with Solana at 1.79 billion in volume. Solana is becoming the meme token. I'm actually a little bit surprised about this as well, only because, especially with the whole SBF trial, I'm wondering if the Solana bots shut off. Because one of the arguments that was kind of going on with the whole SBF trial was, is basically the people of FTX are going to get their money back. And of course, conveniently, it's while Solana and all this is all pumping like crazy. So we're going to be diving into, my thoughts on that in just a little bit, but just kind of seeing it all. Again, you can see some of these other ones. Arbitrum's one of those ones where you can see kind of a similar situation. Like that's not too bad, but normally this is what volume should look like, where volume's over here, liquidity's over here, volume's right here, liquidity's over here, volume's right here, liquidity's over here. Yes, they probably have some bots that are doing some of these things with 2.9 million in volume with 1.3 in liquidity. This is a similar situation, 3 times the volume over here versus the liquidity. But for the most part, this is what volume would typically look like. Again, not always, apparently, because, again, there are plenty of bots to be seen on all of these chains. So it is very interesting that it's all playing out the way it is right now. But, yeah, right now, Solana is outpacing Ethereum, which is kind of crazy. Again, you can see on our side where PulseChain ended up dropping below at this point in time because it's probably sitting on $40 million in volume, and this is probably what you'd normally see on it as well. 472 in volume, 1.1 million in liquidity, right? 311 in volume, 351 in liquidity, 171 in volume, 1.1 in liquidity. So this is pretty much like what the organic users will look like. Yeah, there are some bots on all chains because people are able to make them pretty easily, especially with AI creations nowadays. Even ZK Sync is another one where you're going to see plenty of volume over here, whether it's fake volume or not. But this is actually what it normally looks like. This one's a little bit high over here, which, is what it is. But again, this is what normal volume looks like versus liquidity. You got volume, you got liquidity, you got volume, you got liquidity, right? That's what it can normally look like. And then you can see the ones where they're off by a little bit. But yeah, what does this put us at right now? So basically it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So PulseChain's dropped below the top 10. For that reason, do I think it's going to end up doing a pump before the halving? I'm hard pressed to believe it does a pump before the halving. And if it does, I'll be happily surprised, man. Let's just keep it real. If it does, congrats. I'll be happily surprised. I will gladly take that all day, every day. Okay? So I just want y'all to know that's how I feel. So Casey, hopefully that helped answer the question, because again, do I see it pumping one more time before the Bitcoin halving? More sideways action? I would see more sideways action. Possibly up to roughly around September. So hope you're ready for that, guys. Like September, October, before you really start seeing the pumps. Again, this is breaking down all the other layer ones that launched. All of them, or majority of them, launched after or near the Bitcoin halving, whereas we launched a year before the Bitcoin halving. So I looked at Binance, which, you know, I can pull up a simple little chart over here, I guess, since I'm talking about it. But I looked up like the Binance chart over here, and this was kind of one of those items that kind of, you know, led me to believe what I believe. Whether it's log or not, I don't really pay attention too much here. But keep this in mind. I'm just going to kind of pull up this data. So imagine the halving was April 20th or April of 2020. Okay, so somewhere in this range, it was April of 2020. Binance had already been around for some time, but imagine that we are right here. We launched in May 19th of 2000, or we'll say May of 2019. This is PulseChain right now. Okay, this is just go along with this, track it with me. Okay, so you got PulseChain launching in this time frame. A year basically goes sideways. Even after the halving, it still basically goes sideways, all the way up until roughly around December to January. Again, this is back when it was May of 2019, so it's around $22. It hit a low at one point in time of close to $10. And again, around this time for December to January, it was roughly in this $30 region. And then it goes off into the freaking stratosphere that a lot of people have seen, which, you know, ended up hitting all the way up to like $675. So this is what I see a similar situation like this playing out on PulseChain. Cool. Hopefully that helped answer that question. And again, could it play within a 3x range? Sure. I consider that sideways still, for the most part. Again, like a 3x pump, we call them pump for ants. Everyone says that. A 3x pump is really good. You 3x your money, that's great. That's amazing. But everyone wants more because we're greedy. And it's a bull market, man. Why wouldn't we be greedy? I'm with you. T-Time, what's up? Good evening, all. Super bullish over here. Absolutely. What's up, y'all? What's up, Mike? How you doing, my friend? What do you think about LL and the PulseChain trailer park rug? Mixed feelings on both, I guess. You know, I'm not participating in any meme coins, so if you are partaking in meme coins, understand rug pulls is a part of the game, 1000%, which is why if you are going to partake in meme coins, understand that some of them are just going to rug, which is why you don't go freaking YOLO all in on a meme coin. Okay, let's just keep it as simple as you can there. And then the ones that you end up pumping on, say you get a 2x, 5x, 10x, take the profits, man. Take the profits. Congrats. You did good, right? Take the profits. Run. Put it back into the core asset. Don't go chase the next meme coin. That's what tends to happen with meme coins. But I can't control anyone, right? You're going to do whatever you want to do at that point in time. So the Pulse Trailer Park, you know, the PTP, the rug, I think that's comical at that point in time. You know, they say, well, we got these big wallets who are doing nothing but sell, and so we're going to pull the liquidity or whatever. We're going to try to we're going to try to recoup everyone and make everyone good again, and all these other things. And it's like, dude, they can go screw off, man. Again, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. You know what I mean? Right? Or I guess fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And so I don't know what. Fool me can't get fooled again, basically, right? That's one of those good old George Bush things, right? George W. Fool me can't get fooled again. And so when you hear that kind of stuff, man, it's exactly that same thing, folks. people have gone through this so many times, but so many people are brand new to meme coins. So then they're getting burned, and that's like learning lessons. I've got burned before in the past. I was in the 2021 phase, 2020 phase. I was in all that. I've been burned in the past. I don't care to be burned again. So like I have my assets. I keep them long. I hold them for a long time. I have a long-term vision. I'm okay with that. I earn yield on my tokens that I put aside, whether it's providing liquidity and yield farming, or whether it's by doing other items, which again, there are multiple different ways of doing it without giving up all of your tokens, giving access to your core portfolio, which by the way, meme coins are absolutely a good way to get rinsed, y'all. Because what happens is you end up doing well in a meme coin, and you do good, and you say you get a 5x, 10x, and you're like, that was cake, dude. I just did a 10x in 3 days, whatever it was, a 10x in 10 days. Wow, I'm incredible. I'm so awesome. Let me go harder on the next one. And you give full permission. You give unlimited access to all the tokens. You click on a malicious DApp, because what tends to be the case on meme coins is you want to be in as fast as you can. And so because you're going in as fast as you can, you don't have a lot of time for it to prove its worth, for it to prove its diligence, for it to prove its value, and to make sure that it won't do something silly like be malicious. But because you're trying to get in early, you don't really pay attention to some of those things. You're like a switch shuts off in your head that you just like, it just shuts off. It's like, and he goes to sleep. Boom. As soon as that happens, you gave access to all your tokens, and then you see the people, I just lost 40,000. I just lost 10,000. I just lost all of my tokens. I just lost all my PulseX. I just lost all of my Pulse. What happened? What happened? What? Over and over and over and over and over. And by the way, there are going to be more people losing money than ever this cycle. I hope y'all understand that. There are going to be more hacks than ever. So far, this number has continued to tick up. This is now up to $7.7 billion in hacks. People were wondering what the one that RH was talking about the other day that rhymed with Lunchables. Well, you can go on to DeFi Llama and find out this stuff yourself. But look at this. Lost 62 million, lost 2.1 million, lost 8.5 million. These are all actual projects. These are things that are actually projects. That's not even including the time where the private keys get compromised, or including the time where you ended up doing a social engineering attack, and you end up say, oh my God, I need help with MetaMask customer support. And then fucking the bots come in and flood your account like crazy. And then DM me. What? Yeah, click on this, type in this, put in your seed phrase, get rinsed. It's crazy. Crazy how fast it happens. But your mind like stops working over here. Liquid loans, neither here nor there. So I have a vault open with liquid loans, but I literally only borrowed the very bottom minimum, which is 2,000 to open the vault. And I put a heck of a lot more Pulse in there to make sure that I'm way over collateralized, just because. And at that time, the way it goes down is, again, you hear all the people talking about it. KDP is a big proponent on this, bringing it up to people's attention, talking about time weighted average and all these other items. And yeah, I don't know, man. It's one of those, like, everything's a risk, dude, like no matter what, which is why doing nothing while it's boring is the best. Like, again, I put a small amount of my Pulse, but I made sure that I was way over collateralized, because I do not want to get liquidated or get redeemed against or any of that trash. So I'm way out of the zone for that. Way out of it. Again, I don't mess with the earn protocol at all. I haven't touched it at all. So keep that in mind. Hopefully that helped answer the question. What's up, Tin Top? How you doing, my friend? Yellowtail, what up? What's up, Tam Tam? Saying hello to everybody. Good evening, fam. Good evening, Tam Tam. J Pong, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. What's up? I'm late catching up on 1.5x. Love it. ATX is a legend. Appreciate that. I'm starting to shift to think Inc will do the best from here. TDM10. So here's how it's going to work. Inc is going to outperform all the other ones first, but that doesn't mean Inc is always going to outperform all the other ones. But in the meantime, if you wanted to play a play to make it happen, maybe you allocate your DCA instead of getting into the Pulse, PulseX, and Hex ecosystem, you allocate it to just get in some onto the Ink token. Whenever that goes off and does a massive run, which is very likely to possibly happen, again, not a guarantee. Nothing's a guarantee in crypto, folks. Nothing is a guarantee in crypto. But when I look at this chart and I actually compare it against Pulse, there has been times where Pulse has outperformed Ink. Now, at this point in time, Ink is outperforming Pulse. When it ends up getting back up to these levels up here, that was when Ink was sitting on $80. Okay, so like when it's up in these ranges, massively outperforming Pulse. Again, this is almost a scale. You can actually see if you just bought it over here around the bottom, somewhere in this zone, and it got up here, that would mean Ink outperformed Pulse 30 times better. Okay, if you bought Ink down here and how it performed against Pulse, just comparing the two ratios. But that doesn't mean it's always going to be the case. There will be a day where Pulse is going to outperform the Ink token. And I think these ratios are going to do this exact move where it's here, it's playing in this little zone, it's bouncing up, it's playing in this little zone, it comes back down, it plays in this little zone, it comes back, and you know what I mean? So this is how it works whenever you are dealing with ratios, which is why paying attention to ratios can be helpful. Not necessarily a must, but at the same time, what's going to perform the best from this moment in time? It looks like at this point, Ink is outperforming Pulse, right? I mean, if you had just bought Ink on the low back in on the 10th of January, around that little time frame, you would have, if you wanted to swap at this point in time for Pulse, you would actually have 6.5x more Pulse than you would have if you had just bought Pulse. That's what this means when you look at these ratios. So I am a similar thought as you. I do believe that Ink is going to be the leading player token into all of this. So keep that in mind. Okay. But that doesn't mean it's always going to be the case. So again, this is as of March 28, 2024. So I think by the time everything settles, all the good stuff, Bitcoin halving's done. We got the 8 months past the Bitcoin halving. We're going into the new year. That's when everything on all the freaking tokens that I looked at for all the layer ones, Avalanche, Phantom, Solana, freaking Binance, you look at all of these different tokens. Phantom is another token that was like damn near pretty close to what I can see, what I can actually see PulseChain looking like, because when you look at Phantom on this similar chart, it looked pretty damn close to PulseChain, right? It launched right before. So you, again, Bitcoin halving April of 2020. So you got Phantom over here sitting at a penny, and it came all the way down to 2 zeros and a 6. And again, there were ranges where it was a little bit lower, and then it went sideways. So again, all the way during this time, right? It's staying, we're 2 pennies, 2 pennies, a penny, below a penny, back to a penny, somewhere in this little zone. April of 2020 hits, you got the Bitcoin halving. By August of 2020, you start seeing a nice little 3x in some of these tokens. It pulls back once again. And when does it really start taking off? January of 2021. And then boom, it just freaking rallies all the way up once again to a high at that point in time of, man, I can't even get my mouse to end up getting there, but a high above $3. Let's just keep it simple, right? A high, we'll say $3.20 or something like that. Again, you were buying back when it was a penny, and it goes all the way up to here. So a nice little 300x. Congrats, man. Congrats. And you had a full all this time to accumulate. Yeah, dude. Congrats. But this is a similar situation that I see playing out for PulseChain. Shoot, man, I gotta get some news and gotta get to the chat and running out of time. Oh my gosh. What's up, L? Yeah. It is what it is, man. That dude Casey sounds like a Chad. I don't know who you're talking about. Oh, what? This dude Casey sounds like a Chad? I don't know. What does that mean? I don't even know what that means. ATX, other than RH coins, what else are you buying? Currently myself, nothing. I mean, right? It's look, my play is boring, my play is simple. But is there a place to be made? 1000%, right? If you're looking at, like, especially, let's just talk about like AI coins for a second. Go here. Categories. All right, so go to categories and whoops. And here. So this is kind of what I would do, right? You got all the tokens over here. So you got meme tokens popping off like crazy if you're looking for some of them. Again, these are get in, get out plays, folks. Get in, get out plays, right? If you're going to be doing it, get in, get out plays. This is my problem. I've switched my brain to no longer trade, and I don't want to get in and get out, and I don't want to worry about it. But if you are wanting to do some of it, I would possibly look at some of these tokens over here. Again, a $4 million market cap over here. Again, you got to pull up the actual tokens. Render's an easy one to kind of see. Gala's another one that you can possibly look at, which again, nice little pump going on over here for Gala. Again, back in the 6-cent range, it could be up into the, at least $2-3 range at that point in time for the highs. The tokens are out there, guys. Like, I'm not saying they're not. It's just something that I don't want to do anymore. I've been down that rabbit hole before. And for me personally, I know it's boring, but I hold the tokens that I hold. And so it is what it is. ATX is an RH Maxi. I am, Agree, this cycle is doing, this cycle I'm doing nothing too. F pause. Yeah, dude, get it. Don't listen to Crypto Khalil. We family. And he knows I was the first crypto. He called me to ask if the name was cool. Lol. That's funny. Have a good night, ATX. The best in the game. Thank you so much. Have a good one as well. I'm sick ATX doesn't know what a chat is. Yeah, I mean, what? A giga chat, all that good stuff. Like, a chat is someone who's just like a beast. Is that the guy who does like the I've always seen the little chads where they do I can't even do the face, right? I guess I don't have the jawline and all that good stuff for that to be said, but a chat's someone who's just like a beast, I guess. Kick ass. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Kiss ass. Gotcha. Kiss ass. All right. What else we got, man? We got to wrap up some news over here. So let me just pull up some news. See what's going on in the crypto world. Yeah, cool. All right, appreciate it. All right, cool. These are all the ETF search results that I looked up just a moment ago. So closing that and just going to my regular news outlet. What the hell? What in the hell? All right. So Ethereum application ETF approved and submitted by Bitwise. We actually have the good old SBF Freed, Sam Bankman-Fried, who ended up getting 25 years of prison. I would love to know what y'all's thoughts on this, but SBF ambitions went too far. Judge says when handing down 25-year sentence. Exceptionally ambitious and again ultimately reckless. Yeah, dude. And so given one more chance to defend himself, SBF blew it. The former FTX CEO was sentenced to 25 years in jail. What were his last words? I'm very curious to know what he said. I didn't know what I was doing. Bizarre family trio who drove down. I sat in the overflow. While it's important to know, what do you say? Last chance. Okay, what? All right, what do you say? This last chance to adjust the judge is an important one in the judicial system. It's known as an allocution statement, and it shouldn't be overlooked as a real way to affect a judge sentencing. Allocution statements let the defendant humanize themselves and give the most persuasive counsel may not be able to speak for a defendant, as the defendant might, with halting eloquence, speak for himself. Did he even say anything? Well, I didn't expect anything as dramatic as Bankman-Fried suddenly admitting his guilt and asking for forgiveness. I did think we'd get a middle ground. Instead, we got roughly 20 minutes of explanation about how good Bankman-Fried's FTX colleagues were at their job, lol, followed by him thanking Bahamian regulators for their work. Bankman-Fried did say he was sorry for his mistakes, but he sprinkled those sorries with his inevitable insistence that FTX customers and investors could be made fully whole again if the bankruptcy proceedings acted differently. In a nutshell, Bankman-Fried stuck to the same tune he'd been singing since November of 2022. Everything happened was a series of mistakes. He's really sorry about said mistakes, and he'd like to help fix them himself, but the meddlesome bankruptcy court has gotten in the way. Lol. I made a mistake. He kept saying, I made a mistake. And he just kept on saying that. It's stupid. So to close this chapter, I'm left with feeling that Bankman-Fried still doesn't quite get it, what this trial was all about. He appears to continue to think of himself as a victim of unfortunate circumstances that he could have righted if he had had more time. I just need more time. Yeah, I mean, that's basically what it came down to, right? So SBF continue to do that. So there's multiple ways that this dude's going to get his people made whole again. One of them is through US dollar value. And so let's just say you had one Bitcoin in FTX, or, I think that's the easiest one to use. And I think CoffeeZilla made a little post on this as well. If you had one Bitcoin at that point in time, and the price when Bitcoin went down or FTX went down was around $17,000, $15,000, whatever it was. And now the price is worth $70,000. Are you just going to get back the dollar value amount that you lost at that time, which is what I believe that they're going to do when they make people whole? Or are you actually going to get the actual assets, which I do not believe to be the case? So we'll find out, I guess, soon enough. Bitwise files for a spot Ethereum ETF. Yep, we talked about that. Sentence 25 years in prison. Vitalik discusses what is next for Ethereum following the Dinkin hard fork. Yeah, apparently there was a massive issue that happened because of the blob base fees surge as Ethereum misses slots and basically caused them to skyrocket. And I do mean skyrocket, where it went from pennies to many dollars. And so they completely messed that up, apparently. Bitcoin halving is just weeks away. Absolutely. Fidelity takes another step toward the spot ETF, but hurdles likely remain. SafeDAO may finally vote to make safe tokens transferable. Why is 2140 the end of Bitcoin inflation? That was a stupid question. I guess people are still learning. Bank Secrecy Act versus crypto. A new DOJ lawsuit revives old tactic. Yeah, I never liked that, how they just hide all the information, but is what it is. Court largely rules against Coinbase dismissal efforts in SEC case. What else we got? All right. Sorry, y'all. What else we got? Next gen crypto mining system. Wow. Coinbase becoming the largest comparison platform. Speaking of, I actually pulled up this over here. There's crazy stuff over here, but guys, look at where Bitcoin's fallen. It's literally right below gold right now. So we're like, Bitcoin is past Facebook right here. It's above Berkshire Hathaway in terms of the overall market cap, sitting at close to 1.4 trillion right now. Once it passes silver, it's like just a few steps away from passing all of these. And I've said this already in the past, but I do believe Bitcoin goes not only into the 3 trillion market cap, but beyond. And then it would just be sitting behind gold. And that would just shock so many people. So like, get ready for what's going to be coming, guys. There's still many, many things to happen overall in this cycle. Just a little heads up. Price prediction: is Ethereum finally safe? Bitcoin hits 70,000 ceiling. XRP volume pattern raises concern. Ethereum price prediction for March: Bitcoin to test all-time high again. Solana surge isn't stopping. Solana price prediction. Yeah, these are all click me. Yeah, all these people want to know for sure, and that's kind of what it is, right? What else we got in the news? That's why I'm checking out the news, just to see what else is going on. Bitcoin difficulty drops. Miners hesitant to expand ahead of halving. Yeah, I don't know why you would actually continue to put my phone down to around. Oh, cool. So I don't know why people would mine Bitcoin after the I mean, for if you got plenty of money, I get it, but the halving reward is going to go down to like 3 Bitcoin, and it's going to go down from like 6.25 to 3.125. And is it still worth it based on the amount of electricity and how hard it is to get, and the mining software programs, or hardware, I guess I should say, continue to get more and more expensive because they have to compute harder and harder algorithms to make it happen. Pretty crazy stuff. Bitwise CIO expects institutions to inject over $1 trillion into Bitcoin via ETFs. Crazy. I believe it, though. Hedge fund goes long Bitcoin, short MicroStrategy. That's backwards as all can be. I feel like they move together, do they not? One day I should pull that up and check it out. Everything BlackRock CEO Larry Fink said about Bitcoin. Wood said sales of Coinbase shares is active portfolio management. Yep, believe it. U.S. federal agencies ordered to name AI officers meet meet other requirements. Call of Duty players had their Bitcoin swiped thanks to a malware. My gosh, get wrecked. Web3 game summons gold seeking FPS player. That's another reason why I don't mess with a whole bunch of stuff, man. I'm so scared, and I talk about hacks all the time and all that good stuff, and so it's like, it's just wild, man. So I talk about all these different things, and literally it doesn't take long, man. You just have to click one wrong thing, and then it's like years of effort gone within seconds. And I don't want no part of that, man. I really don't. Like meme coins, yeah, you can go make some money. Yeah, you can do all that, but I'm going to make plenty of money. I'm not worried about trying to make even more money. Like, again, the money side of things is always good, but guys, make sure that your mental health is good. And when you start trading meme coins and all that other stuff, that stuff can start getting you going crazy. You start checking out charts constantly. You wonder if you should sell, if you should buy more. You tend to FOMO in even harder. You go YOLO, which is worse, which is like, you just like, fuck it, man. Let's just send it. Send it. Oh, dude. Can I steal that 10 top? My God, it came out with a freaking awesome title over here for tomorrow's stream. Bro, TGI Friday Confessions. Bro, I'm going to write that down in my notes. Like, that's solid. I actually really like that. Yeah, literally writing it in my notes right now. TGIF Friday Confessions. Bro. Yes, sir. Like, bro, that's incredible. When moon, soon. Again, my definition of soon is different than many people's, but my definition of soon implies somewhere in the ballpark of the next 6 to 12 months, you're going to be seeing more money than you've ever seen in your entire life. And I hope that makes some sense. Funkmaster X, what's up, my man? Cheers to you. Appreciate all the replay gang as well. Thursday of a long weekend, a cocktail and a stream. Boom. Love it. Well, guys, it's going to wrap up today's stream. So much love to every single one of y'all. If you have any other questions, hit me up in the comments down below, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
I ain't gonna give up. Got too little time, I'ma live up. Head down, push forward through the tough times.